Thank you, Your Majesty, for such a gracious introduction, and thank you for this honor and for all that you have done to shine a light on those who are too often forgotten, those who are among the most vulnerable on our planet, and those who deserve our support, our compassion, and our care the very most. Jordan has consistently been an open-hearted, generous country to the plight of refugees, and particularly today, in light of the Syrian crisis continuing to unfold next door. One of the most challenging and moving experiences that I've had as a U.S. Senator was a trip that I took to a Syrian refugee camp in Jordan, where refugees were trying to provide some semblance of normalcy to their families, and the Jordanian government and UNHCR were working together to help make that possible. It brought me back to a time when I was a kid, when I was first exposed to the challenges and the possibilities of refugees. My home church sponsored, adopted a South Vietnamese family with 5 very young children who had fled to Thailand and come a few years later to the United States. I remember meeting them when I was in middle school myself and being stunned by their personal story, by the degree of deprivation and uncertainty that they had faced in their 1,000-mile trek and their journey across the world to the United States. It was remarkable to come to know them personally and see over the next decades how they adapted and how they ultimately thrived here in the United States. In the intervening years since, I've been mindful of the tragedy, the suffering, the challenges, and the potential that refugees face in our world. I'm mindful of our capacity to effect change in their lives. And in the Senate, I hope to work with all of you to make a lasting difference in the lives of those most in need of our help around the world. So thank you to Refugees International for this honor, but more importantly, thank you for the work that you do, supporting them and on behalf of refugees around the globe. The scope and the care of your advocacy is truly remarkable. Your field work ensures that when you call for change, it's because you've seen the need firsthand. And when Refugees International proposes new policy, it is serious, well-informed, and speaks with urgency. Although I'm certainly proud of the work that we've accomplished together, as everyone in this room is well aware, this is a time not for congratulations, but for rededication. We face a humanitarian crisis today of historic proportions. While many countries are realizing levels of wealth unmatched in their own histories, neighboring nations are being torn apart by violence, with innocent people, often children, paying the price. Around the world today, as you heard earlier this evening, there are 51 million refugees and internally displaced persons, the most in our world since World War II. From the decades-old Somali refugee camps in Kenya to Jordan's heroic efforts in the face of Syria's civil war, the need for compassion, for tolerance, and support for refugees is greater than it has ever been in the modern era. The U.S. government continues to lead the world in extending humanitarian support to those in need, and I'm proud of that fact. I also know, however, that we have to do more, and we must be more effective in what we do. The United States and our partners must take a more thorough and thoughtful approach, one that acts swiftly during crisis to ensure innocent civilians have a safe and secure place to live, one that supports host countries so that refugee camps have the stability and the long-term investment they need, whether they're open for months or for decades. We need an approach together that utilizes America's resources and convening power to tackle the underlying roots of conflict. Of course, these crises around the world can't be solved by the United States alone. At the end of the day, any sustainable solution will only be found by local communities, regional stakeholders, and the international community working together. But there is no substitute for American leadership, and we have to provide it in every way we can, given the scope of global need today. A fundamental principle of my own faith is the importance of providing support and comfort to strangers and wayfarers, to those with no home, to refugees. It's a principle found in nearly every faith tradition and also one that's enshrined in UN conventions and the laws of every advanced country. It's at the core of our fidelity to each other. I believe strongly that here, in the wealthiest nation on earth, our ability to broaden our definition of neighbor to include every American, every wayfarer, every refugee is at the core of the American experiment. So, too, is this our challenge globally, building tolerance, building compassion for those around the need, for those around the world who are today most in need of our help. So to everyone here tonight, it is such an incredible honor to have you as partners in this vital work. We have unparalleled capacity between us, and I'm heartened to know that many are working together so well in facing down the crises today sweeping the globe. If we continue that work together, there is truly no limit to what we can do to lift up and heal others if we dedicate ourselves anew to this vital task. Thank you.